can I continue to participate and grow in my church small group when I discovered an affair between one of the wives in my group and one of the husbands in my group?
This is awesome.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm going through the grief cycle. Like I'm really sad and then I get really mad. And
Do the other partners know?
No.
Oh, even more awesome.
No.
Are you going to tell them?
Well, that's why I'm talking to you. I was hoping you would give me some.
Yes, you have to.
Okay. Well, can I give you a little bit of the backstory here?
Sure.
Okay. So I've been in this group for about 4 years now. We have a total of 5 couples in the group. And between us all, we have 14 kids.
Is there a pineapple on the front porch?
You would think at this point, but no.
Wow.
So we get together every single Tuesday night. We have dinner together. We just get together and do life together, basically.
A lot of life. A lot of life.
Clearly. So one couple in particular has shared with us some of their marriage struggles. And I'll just refer to the wife as Sarah. So Sarah's been very open about the struggles in her marriage with our entire group. And so on the flip side of that, I recently started working full time after being a stay-at-home mom for about 3 years. And one of the coworkers that I've gotten close to knows Sarah. They have mutual friends. So she shared with me just a couple weeks ago that Sarah confided in her about this affair and shared details with her about who it was with. And it's details that I know she's not lying because she really shouldn't know any of these details. And they're really not that good of friends.
Like details like a mole on the back of his ear, or like what kind of details?
The details consist of like knowing what kind of vehicle the husband drives that she's having the affair with. She knows when and how the affair started, which was back in December when the two of them, Sarah and the husband, were planning the husband's wife's birthday party. That's kind of how it started, I guess, because they shared telephone numbers.
So walk me through. What's your question?
Okay, so knowing this information, I sat on it for about a week. I processed it with my husband. We prayed about it together, and I ultimately came to the decision that I just need to confront her about these things that I'm hearing. And so I did that. I took her to a coffee shop, sat her down, and just let her know, hey, I'm hearing these things. Is this true? And she denied everything. So now I'm kind of like, if this isn't true, I'm not understanding how it's not true, how there's not any truth to it because of the details that my coworker knows. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So I just don't know how to proceed when I did the right thing by confronting Sarah, but I still feel this just awkwardness and I don't believe her. Yeah. And so I don't know how to proceed.
I mean, there's multiple things going on here. I think big thing number one is you have to grieve the fact that you did life with 5 families for 4 years. Every Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Y'all shared secrets. Y'all prayed together. You wept together. Your kids played together. And the affair, fine. The affair happened. But it's that you can sit down and talk to a friend heart to heart and she just lied to your face. Yes. Right? Yeah. And yes, affairs shouldn't happen, but they do. Mm-hmm. This may sound crazy, and I may get some flack for this. And I haven't even thought this all the way through. Just my 2 decades of working with student conduct issues, like from graduate students who are in their 50s all the way to 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. I was always much more concerned about who they were the day after. Meaning, people do stuff. They find themselves in situations, they make a bad choice, they make a bad decision, they do a thing that's so dumb. But who are you when somebody calls you on it? Right. And so you sat down with a friend that you trusted, that you poured your life out to, and you thought had poured their life out to you, and she lied to your face.
Yep.
And so that's the part I would deeply be grieving. Of course, I'm going to grieve that these 2 marriages are now blown up and all that stuff. So, I think without question, you and your husband are out of this group because it's what is it? 35% of it is untrustworthy.
Right.
And there's big, giant secrets being had in there. And now that you've sat down and talked to her, if she has any brain at all, she's deleted everything. She told the person that she had the affair with, we're going to delete everything, change everything, and so everything is what it is, right?
Right.
And then it might just be a he said, she said, he said. What about, are you friends with this other guy's wife? The one who's kind of the
Yes.
How's that conversation gone? Have you met with her?
So we had our small group just this past Tuesday night. Sarah and her husband were not there, but the other husband and his wife were there, and it was very awkward for me.
Is Sarah ever going to come back?
Yes, they're going to come back. They're on a trip together, trying to work things out. So it just reiterates the fact that she's lying to me, because I think she's in, cleanup mode right now. She's trying to clean up the mess that she made, or, damage control. So
has your husband sat down with the guy?
He has not. Should he? That was one thing we had talked about.
I would.
Okay.
And I'd probably phrase it like this. Hey, I know what happened. You don't have to explain yourself to me. You don't have to, but my expectation is you say something. I'm not just going to sit here and keep showing up every Wednesday with your wife holding your hand who has no idea. And
I know.
It's also not wise for anyone to assume that these spouses don't already know.
Right. That was the other thing. I'm like, well, maybe they know and they're okay with it, but
maybe
I'm
they're not.
okay
Maybe
with
they're not
it.
okay with it.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. At the end of the day, all you can control is what you can control.
Right.
Would you want somebody to sit down with your husband if he was having an affair with one of your friends? Would you want someone to? Would you want one of his friends to sit down with you if they found out he was sleeping with somebody else? You can only do what you can do, and then you're going to have to choose. We're heading out of this thing.
Yeah, it's just heartbreaking because all of our kids are best friends.
Hold on, that's it right there.
Yeah,
don't go past that. This is just heartbreaking. It's a mess.
Yeah.
In the old, in the way I learned it was not by your hand, but in your lap. You didn't cause this, and here it is. The neighbor's house caught on fire, and it was dry outside, and your house burned to the ground too. You didn't do anything, but now you got to clean up a burned down house. And it's just heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is.
You had a group of an awesome thing going, and somebody else blew it up, and then they lied about blowing it up. It's just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
How old are your kids?
I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
Yeah, they're not going to understand what's up and what's down. And so you're going to have weeks of, why can't we go to whatever's house?
Yep. Yeah, it's just heartbreaking. And then I just overthink, and I'm like, well, maybe she's not lying. But I'm like, no, there's something going on here.
But here's the thing. I'm saying this because of the tight-knit nature of how you've painted this group. And I'm thinking of my friend Todd and my friend John and their wives, Melissa and Jennifer, and my wife. John and or Todd would probably call me privately. And the next time we all got together, it would all be put out on the table because we have that kind of closeness in our relationship.
Okay.
Because, hey, Delony, your stupidity affected all of us. And so it's this, you did the right thing. You went to the person, which I think is the right way to handle it, right? And sounds like you're a person of faith. That's the way the Bible says to do it. Go straight to them. And then what does it say? Take a couple of people.
Yeah.
And so if you want to follow that model, I think that model works everywhere, in and outside of faith communities. But go to that person. We're going to bring a couple people. Hey, here's the deal, man. Like, we kind of know.
Yeah.
And now it's about a friendship now you're not being honest with the friendship.
Right.
Right? And then y'all have some decisions to make about where you're going to go to church and what groups you're going to get plugged into. And y'all have to grieve the fact that y'all had a good thing going and somebody else blew it up.
Yeah, we do have leaders within our group, and we did share with our leaders what we had heard. And they approached her as well and asked her the same things I did, and she denied it then too.
Of course she is.
So yeah. So
but hold on. If what you know is to be true, that she's a person who lacks serious character, and I know you're not supposed to rank these things, but there's a difference between meeting somebody at work or on a work trip and having a one-night stand and then sleeping with one of your closest best friend's husbands.
Yeah.
Like there's layers, and I know I'm not, an affair is an affair, fine. That just sounds worse to me.
Right.
So if that person is that kind of person, then I wouldn't expect them to suddenly develop a sense of integrity and character when they're called out on it.
That's true. Yeah.
They've already shown you who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wouldn't keep going back to that. Well, you've done the first step, the way Scripture lays it out, and you've done the second step, then y'all have some decisions to make now. You could tell her she's not welcome until she wants to clear it up. And she could say, hey, this is our family private business. I'm not bringing it here. And you could say, well, hey, the whole point of a small group is that we all agree to share business.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of what we're doing. We're doing life together, which is good stuff. And it's when things get sideways. Mm-hmm. And she's opting out. But if the leaders aren't going to do that and the other people in the group are going to stay in the dark, then you're going to have a choice to make.
Okay. I was afraid you were going to say that.
I mean, I don't really have another option. I hate it for you. It just is what it is. But, I mean, it just stinks. And whether this happens at work, whether this happens in church, whether this happens with friends, whether this happens with family members, it's just life is somebody dropping a grenade in your lap at all times. Occasionally, we have a grenade in our own lap and we pull the pin. But often, life is just a series of dealing with other people's grenades. And I've just come to a point where my two guiding principles are I'm going to try to do my best to be a person of integrity. I don't always get it right, but I'm going to try to be a person of integrity when walking through cleaning up a mess that somebody else has caused in my life. And the second thing is I want to make sure that when the smoke clears on what just happened, that I can look in the mirror and still honor, I'm still a person of honor and integrity and respect. And that doesn't mean I'm going to do it perfect, but that means I'm going to spend the effort doing the next right thing. You, Rose, are at that point when you've prayed about it, you talked about it, you've thought about it, it's haunted your nights and your mornings, you think about it all the time, you confronted the person, you told the leaders of the group, and you're still back here at square one. And so now you've got that hard choices. I think we got to go. Or I think we got to put all of us on the table when everyone's sitting around the table. Let me know what you choose to do, Rose. Let me know what you choose to do. I think everyone wants to know what's going to happen next here. And just FYI, at some point, Rose, you're going to have to answer the question, why did you not let Jack on the door too? That was my Titanic joke, in case anybody got that. If you didn't get that, Kelly's just shaking her head at me. I thought that was a good one. No, not a good one.